man. I'm getting off right now so I can go catch the Buffalo Bills, spank the Dolphins. Will Mike McDaniel make it past this game? Who knows, man? We'll see. What's up, and welcome back to NFL Matchup. I'm your host, Earl Knows It All, and if you're new to this show, what we do here is break down every single game on the slate for this week, week 3 in the NFL, man. You've come to the right place if you need to get caught up on all the latest news and what we think will happen in each one of these games, man. So what you need to do before we do anything, before we get into the first game, which is our Thursday night game, do yourself a favor. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on, and like this video too as well, man, so you don't miss a thing. We want to make sure that you guys are getting all this great NFL content that we're giving here on this channel. Myself and my brother B Woo, you'll see him pop in as well for Cover 2 with B Woo and Earl Knows It All. And we also do a show called Bird Talk each and every week where we discuss what's going on with the Atlanta Falcons, the hometown team here. And we also give you pick 6 each and every week. I made it back to 500, man, for pick 6. So we bet those games against the spread. We give you what we think will happen in each one of those. And this show here, NFL Matchup, man, like I said, what we do is give you every single game that's on the slate for the NFL week. And this is week 3. Weeks 1 and 2, we've kind of gotten into it. We've, looked at some trends that may be going on right now. We've kind of determined which teams are going to be pretenders and contenders. It's still a little early right now, so still early to say. We got about 16 more weeks to go in the season, but you're starting to see things come into a clear focus now. People asking questions about certain teams who may be on to now, teams that we thought would be contenders, teams that we thought would have championship aspirations, and of course, some teams seem dead in the water, man. And one of those teams that seems dead in the water right now will be playing tonight on Thursday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills. That is the Miami Dolphins. They head to Buffalo, up to Buffalo in a division rival game to take on the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, reigning MVP. And as you can see there, this is an 11.5-point spread. Now, I said this earlier on in the season that I didn't think the Dolphins would, look as bad as they look. I actually was surprised that they were underdogs in their first game, but I had to reassess what I thought about this team after watching them. And the vote of confidence has still not come because they look pretty bad again against the Patriots. You hear Tua Tagovailoa at the podium after the game last week saying, hey, I try to tell my guys, Tyreek Hill and Jaden Waddle, that they run too fast. Why are you running that deep and that fast? I can't make the ball reach, essentially, is what he told those guys. So Mike McDaniel, who was once upon a time, one of the geniuses off that Shanahan tree that everyone wanted to talk about as far as being able to, kind of dial up these fun offensive plays and just, make a lot of wreak a lot of havoc on defenses. He's not looked that way so far this year, man. And it seems like the ship be sinking, as they say, man. This team, surprisingly, like I said, they still have some talent on it, but I think they have pretty much checked out on Mike McDaniel. He's on watch at this point to probably be the first coach that may be fired. They don't have a bye week, I think, until week 12 is when you start to see, some of those moves made. So more than likely, it can be any day now for him, man. And that's a bad way to be this early in the season too, man. You lost the division game. You got spanked by the Indianapolis Colts in week 1. You got beat by the Patriots, who they don't seem to be any great shakes yet as well. And now you got Josh Allen and company that you got a short week at that, man. This is a recipe for disaster when you look at this game. Now, I wanted to kind of, maybe throw a little bit out there and say, hey, do the Dolphins have a chance? I don't think they got a chance at all, man. I think this will probably be a pretty easy game for a Buffalo Bills team that's been dominating this division for a very long time since Josh Allen's been there, Sean McDermott. And now you look at this game, they're going to chance to go 3-0, chance to continue to pace themselves, over a team like the Ravens, who may be, in the race later on in the season for that AFC home field advantage. A team like the Los Angeles Chargers, who look good early on as well. So when you get a game like this in your home stadium against a team that seems dead in the water, you kind of got to go ahead and take care of business. And because of that, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills win this game 30-17. I think it won't be close. It's an 11.5-point spread. I think you'll easily be able to probably make your money on that one if you get 11 points to the Dolphins. They just seem like a team that's dead right now, man. Like Tyreek Hill has been asking for a trade, I feel like, for over a year now. I'm assuming Jaden Waddle is not happy as well. It just seems like it's not a good place to be. Tua, the fans hate him there. It seems like he doesn't get along with Mike McDaniel, maybe. I mean, all of it's just dysfunction, man. And you don't want to be a dysfunctional team coming in on a short week against a very good Buffalo Bills team. And like I said, that's why I think this is going to be a beatdown of epic proportions on Thursday night. We'll take the Buffalo Bills in that one, 30-17. Now, our next game that we get into, battle of backup quarterbacks now, I guess, man. Two quarterbacks who were injured last week in week 2, and it's a tough thing when you get into a season and you want to try to, like I said, build some momentum early on in the year. The Bengals were that team, man. This is a team that I picked to win their division over my actual AFC championship pick, the Baltimore Ravens. Funny thing about that is they always get off to a slow start. This year, they're 2-0. They kind of exercised the demons as far as coming into the season, getting off to a slow start. And lo and behold, last week in the first half, they lose their star quarterback, Joe Burrow, to turf toe. Now, turf toe, of course, seems like, we got to do some better marketing for turf toe, I guess. It seems like it's not that serious of an injury, but he's having surgery on that. It's going to keep him out for 3 months. So you're looking at him being gone until December. Now they have the kid Browning who came in last week, threw 2 touchdowns, but also threw 3 interceptions. So he giveth and he taketh away. Now they just played a Jacksonville team that, can't get right. So they were able to pull that game out. And the good thing about Browning is he has some weapons. You got T. Higgins and you got Jamar Chase, maybe, like I said, the number 1 wide receiver. If not, the other guy on the side of this, on the other side of this game, Justin Jefferson could be considered the number 1 receiver, but they're definitely 1A and 1B. And they're both having issues right now at the quarterback spot. For the Vikings, it may be a blessing in disguise, man. J.J. McCarthy has played 8 quarters in his NFL career, and 7 of them have looked like he needs to go back to college and get some more studying done to be a pro quarterback. He's looked horrible, to say the least. Now, they played the Chicago Bears team that, we thought maybe they could be improved, but they end up losing that game in the fourth quarter to the Vikings, and that's the one quarter that he had that was good so far this year. And then on Sunday Night Football last week, home opener, loud crowd against the Atlanta Falcons, J.J. McCarthy came out and laid an egg. Now, we find out that in that game, I guess maybe late in the game, I'm not sure when it occurred, he actually ends up rolling his ankle and has a twisted ankle. So Carson Wentz is getting called from the bullpen now. Now, Carson Wentz, a former top pick, number 2 overall pick back from his days from the Eagles. He's bounced around the league. He's what we call a journeyman quarterback now, man. He's been with the Eagles. He's been with the Colts, the Commanders, the Rams. What other team I'm missing? The Chiefs. This is, I think, going to be an NFL record 6 team that he makes a start for in consecutive seasons as he suits up for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this is a tough game to call, man. You got 2 backup quarterbacks. Carson Wentz, who once upon a time, had some juice and, was a decent player, but like I said, is bouncing around the league at this point and is pretty much a backup du jour at this point. And the kid Browning, who has done this before too, went 4-3 a couple years ago when Joe Burrow went down and, seems to have a problem turning the ball over, though. That's what scares me. But they both have some pretty good weapons at their disposal. Only problem is Aaron Jones, I think, is out of this game as well for the Vikings, and they're missing some guys on the offensive line, missing some defensive players. Now, they're at home for this game, but I'm going to take the Bengals, man. Surprise, surprise. I think the Bengals can win this one on the road. I think they'll take it 17-13, low-scoring game. You may see some turnovers. The Vikings have not been good offensively. They've got a pretty good defense, of course. They got, they held the Falcons last week in the red zone to 5. So they did a pretty good job there, kind of bending and not breaking. But I think they'll be assisted in this game by having Mr. Brown in at quarterback instead of Joe Burrow. But I don't know that their offensive side of the ball will be able to do enough. And I'm sure one Mr. J. Jettis, Justin Jefferson, is probably going to begin to be a little frustrated with the situation in Minnesota. Again, like I said, shameless plug, we do a show called Bird Talk. I don't know, Vikings fans, how you guys feel about this, but there's an old friend down in Atlanta that, could possibly be available. If you need to try to, bring a guy in, but we'll see what happens with that. I think J.J. McCarthy should be out. They're saying 2 to 4 weeks possibly. So, and like I said, he hasn't been any great shakes either. So I don't know that it makes that big of a difference who the quarterback is going to be, but in this particular game, we're going to take the Bengals to win it 17-13. Now, this next game, a team that's ran the AFC South for couple years now, taking on the Jaguars team, who we thought was on the come up at one point. Now they got a new head coach in Liam Cohen, who, if you've seen some of the viral videos from the offseason of him going Duval, he has not necessarily gotten off to the greatest start. They're 1-1. They beat Carolina in week 1. The Texans are actually 0-2 at this point. And, they went out to LA, lost that game against the Rams, lost a tough game on Monday night to Baker Mayfield, and, a come from ahead defeat at that point. After they'd taken the lead late, Baker Mayfield brings his team back down the field, beats the Texans. The Texans, it's hard for me to put my finger on what's not working for them right now. Offensively, they just don't look good. And it's rough because CJ Stroud has such a promising, career budding after his rookie year. In the last 2 years, it seemed to have been a lot more up and down now. A guy who could probably relate to him is Trevor Lawrence, who, had some promise, struggled a little bit early on, not as much success early as CJ Stroud did, but second year, once he kind of got Doug Peterson at one point, was able to get to the playoffs. But now, another head coach for him, third one, it's kind of getting late for him already too. He's got that big contract that he has, but time for him to start stepping up. I think Jacksonville will take this game. They're giving 1.5. I don't think they'll cover it. I think it's a 1-point victory for them. Neither one of these offenses, I think, are that any great shakes. So I'm taking the Jaguars in this one, 21-20. And I think the Texans, unfortunately, fall into an 0-3 hole, and now they're in that division with the Colts, who we'll get into, who have gotten off to a good start. And speaking of the other two teams in that division, the Colts and Titans also will be meeting up in the AFC South matchup, and the Colts are giving 3.5 to the Titans. Simply put, we talked about the Dolphins earlier. We'll talk about the Saints later as well. The Titans are in the running for one of the worst teams in the league. They had the number 1 pick for a reason. They're still trying to rebuild things. They're not going to waste too much time on this. Daniel Jones, or Indiana Jones, is he's been affectionately nicknamed now. He has looked very good in these first 2 games, man. People in Indianapolis were very excited about him coming in there. They were saying, hey, it wasn't even as close as people thought it was between him and Anthony Richardson, and he's done his job. They got a pretty good offense over there, some good guys on the defensive end of the ball as well, and I think they will give the Titans a little bit more trouble again. I think they take this one 28-21. You'll see the Colts go to 3-0, continue to pace themselves in that division. Like I said, I see the Texans maybe falling back down to earth this year, being 0-3, not maybe being able to climb out of that hole, and that's going to be a tough look for them. But I like the Colts in this one, 28-21. Now we got a old school Super Bowl matchup, man. 2 of the more storied franchises, I guess you could say, in NFL history. The Las Vegas Raiders traveling to the East Coast to take on the DC Commanders. And this game is interesting, man. The Commanders are given 3.5 at home. They are, of course, a playoff team last year, a team that made it to the NFC Championship game. Interesting note on this, at the time of this recording, we're doing this, like I said, here on Thursday. So we'll see what happens on Sunday. But right now, Jaden Daniels was held out of practice. So they're still kind of wondering if he's going to be able to go on Sunday. If he doesn't go, we're looking at Marcus Mariota as the quarterback starting for the Commanders. And he came in a pinch hit situation last year, I think, against either the Packers or one of the games that they played when Jaden Daniels got knocked out of the game. But it'll be a little different starting it. Marcus Mariota is, is he a serviceable backup? I wouldn't even call him serviceable at this point, man. He's in the league because, he has some experience, and he's the kind of guy that you maybe want in your quarterback room, but he's not the kind of guy that you want to be starting, man. I think Geno Smith handles his business. I think Pete Carroll, they get back after losing that game on Monday night to the Chargers and bounce back in this one. Even though they're going to the East Coast, like I said, 1:00 game for a West Coast team, usually pretty tough, but Marcus Mariota is the key in this one. I think he may probably get the start. Like I said, if he doesn't, I like Jaden McDaniels, and I like the Commanders maybe in this one if they have him starting. But I'm making this pick based on the prospects that Marcus Mariota is going to be the starting quarterback in this game. Of course, if they get Jaden McDaniels and he's 75 to 85%, maybe they have an opportunity to beat the Raiders. But kind of predicted this a little bit too. I think the Commanders are going to maybe crash back down. I didn't have them as a playoff team. They play in a tough division, and I think they're going to have a rough go of it, man. It's tough once you kind of have that second year to try to get back, and people got film on you now. So, like I said, he may not even be playing in this game, Jaden Daniels. But if he does, like I said, still could be a tricky one for them. Now, our next game, a playoff rematch from last year, man, and a team that probably gave the Eagles the toughest battle in the playoffs last year. The Los Angeles Rams traveling to the East Coast again for a 1 o'clock game to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are 2-0. And, if you follow my other show, Cover 2 with B-Woo, I'm a Philly Dogs fan, I'll say. So I came to become a Philly fan because of all the guys that they brought in from the University of Georgia. And I love Jalen Hurts too, man. I like the way he carries himself. I saw him going back and forth with Chris Jones. When Chris Jones was talking about his stats and saying, you barely threw 400 yards, he was like, shut up, man. Y'all took an L, pretty much, for lack of a better term. May have been a little bit more explicit than that. But I just like the way this kid carries himself, man. Seems to be the consummate professional now. I say all that, but there seem to be, some things kind of going on with that team. Of course, it doesn't look as crisp. They don't look as like they're clicking on all cylinders yet on offense. And the defense is very young. It's maybe the youngest defense in the league, I think. So, they had the situation with Jalen Carter getting ejected in game 1. He came back last week, and now they played a tough game against the Chiefs as well. Chiefs are, a hard-fought team, even though the Chiefs are 0-2. So, got to give them credit. They won the game. I'm sure the Chiefs would have preferred to win that game versus losing it. So even though neither team looked really good, you'll take that victory. Now, the thing is, the Rams haven't looked that great either. They played the Titans and handled their business in that one. And, of course, Devontae Adams started to get going. He had 6 catches for 106 yards on the TD. And, we know that Matthew Stafford has been dealing with some back issues as well. So something to keep an eye on. But the Eagles are giving 3 at home, kind of standard thing. I think they take this one. I think they cover. I think they remain undefeated. Got the Eagles winning this one at home, 24-20. Again, it's always tough for a West Coast team to travel to the East Coast and play a 1 o'clock game, man. Essentially, if you stay out East Coast, maybe that's a little bit easier for you. But kind of making that move over across the country like that and playing that early game is very difficult. So I think the Eagles will handle no business in that one. And I think they moved to 3-0. The Rams will fall to 2-1. And it'll be interesting to see what happens over there in NFC West. A lot of good football teams over there. It's like the old school NFC West with Legion of Doom. And, the Rams are trying to get rolling again. And 49ers were on point as well. So fun division to watch out for. But, again, Eagles taking that one 24-20. Our next game pits the Atlanta Falcons going to Carolina for an NFC South matchup. Falcons are 5.5-point favorites on the road against the Panthers. Now, Falcons defense has been sort of the talk of the town after week 2. I think they're second in scoring defense, maybe top 5 in yards allowed per game, or maybe second in yards allowed per game, top 5 in scoring defense. They're in the top 5 in a lot of the categories. And from an aggregate standpoint, if you put all those things together, they've looked like the best defense in the NFL, which is interesting. They got 4 rookies on that team who they drafted this past year. All of them showed up on Sunday night. 2 interceptions for the 2 guys in the secondary. Both of the young edge rushers got busy. One of them got a sack, and, of course, Mr. Pierce, James, ended up with a half a sack in the game as well. But they were flying around from a defensive standpoint. Now, problem is they lost their number 1 corner, A.J. Terrell, in this game. He's listed as day-to-day with his hamstring. I don't think they're going to need him in this one per se because the Panthers have been, again, 0-2 and one of the worst teams in the league. They got handled pretty easily by Jacksonville, and then last week they went out to Arizona to play in Phoenix against the Cardinals and came up short again as well. So they'll get a chance to go home now and, see if they can right the ship now. Division games are always tough, man. That's the only thing that you kind of, gives you pause in this one. The Falcons did go out and bring in a new kicker in Parker Romo. I think this game, it could come down to a kick. And, hopefully they have not yet released Younghoe Koo yet. Hopefully he does not see the light of day. If I'm the Falcons and Raheem Morris, I don't want him anywhere near the Queen City of Charlotte. Let him stay wherever he is now, doing whatever he's been doing, and keep Parker Romo, kind of gassed up and ready to go for this game. I think the Falcons will take this one. Like I said, it may be like a last-second kick. These games are always tight and tough when these 2 teams play. But I got the Falcons winning this one 24-21. Look for red zone offense to hopefully get a little bit better. And the Falcons, they kind of had the formula. Run the ball, play good defense against Minnesota. Keep that same formula. I think you handle your business and take this game against the Panthers as well. Our next game takes us to New England. And back in the day, this would have been a game of the week, a game that we all were waiting on. You would have had Tom Brady on one side, Ben Roethlisberger on the other, great coaches and Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick. But, these are not your daddy's Patriots, and these are not your daddy's Steelers either, man. You do have a Hall of Fame quarterback in this game, Aaron Rodgers, but as much as we praised him for week 1 and the 4 touchdowns, the offense didn't really get clicking in week 2 against Seattle, and that was a game that they were favored to win, but came up short end. Now, I think the perfect way to kind of get yourself going is to face a Patriots team that is still trying to figure things out, man. With Drake May at quarterback, they have a couple guys that they're trying to incorporate in that offense, man. Stevenson is their running back. They probably need to rely on him in this one. The good thing, if you're a Patriots fan, and what may give you a chance in this game, is the Steelers' defense has not been very good since, I would say, midway through last season when they went on that losing streak. And it has kind of rolled into this season as well. They were able to survive against the Jets in week 1, but you saw how the Jets look offensively against Buffalo last week. So I don't know if that was fool's gold and the Steelers' defense just isn't good or if Justin Fields had something figured out with him. But if you're Drake May, this may be a game where you're licking your chops a little bit, but still is a guy named TJ Watt over there. Still got Jalen Ramsey. Still got some pretty good players on his defense. So maybe Mike Tomlin and the guys can get this one turned around. The experts think this one will be close, but I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Patriots will probably struggle a little bit more than the experts think in this one. I got the Steelers winning it 27-17, despite them being up in Foxborough for this one. I think Aaron Rodgers kind of gets things back on track. Try to find DK Metcalf and also get a ball to James Conner and let him kind of get some things rolling as well. Now, our next game, the Green Bay Packers are traveling to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Browns. The Browns have been better than I thought they would be, man. Now, defensively, they have some good players over there. They got Myles Garrett, arguably the best pass rusher in the league, if not the best. He's one of the best. So you like the way he kind of packs his lunch pail. And they have a veteran quarterback in Joe Flacco who so far hasn't, blown the games for them, I guess, at this point. Now, this is a perfect storm for a big number as well, where you got the Packers who've come in hot and on fire. They're coming in with some additional rest after playing on Thursday night and going to Cleveland against a Browns team that's still trying to figure things out. I think this one will be a situation where the Packers will cover. The Browns just don't have any kind of weapons on offense that scare you. They don't have a quarterback who is not geriatric right now in Joe Flacco. I mean, it's I think it's going to be a long season for them. And they're going to fight, and there's going to be some toughness from them just based on the kind of defense they have, and a guy like Myles Garrett as well. Like I said, kind of anchoring that defense. But I think the Packers are just going to be too much for them. Jordan Love, all the receivers they have, man, the running game over there as well, and then of course Michael Parsons, who is off to a great start in his new uniform. I think the Packers take this one easily without any issues, man. Now, our last 1 p.m. game on Sunday pits the 2-0 Buccaneers, their first home game of the season, and they welcome in the New York Jets. Now, the Jets are going to be without Justin Fields in this one. I think he's already been ruled out, and your favorite backup quarterback, Tyrod Taylor, will be making an appearance as a starter in this game. Because Tyrod Taylor's in this game, he is a trained professional, man. You know how they have these commercials now where they're like, oh, you need to call in a backup or a professional backup, where you see Jacoby Brissett and my guy Tommy DeVito. I think have been two guys that have been that. Maybe I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo was in one of those commercials or not. Maybe he was. I can't remember. But Tyrod Taylor definitely needs to get an agent that can get him some run in that commercial as well. Now, Jacoby and DeVito are out of the league, I think, now. So maybe not too much a run in that kind of commercial since he's actually playing right now. But him making the start in this game kind of makes me think it could be a little bit more competitive. Justin Fields, I love Justin Fields. I like what Aaron Glenn is trying to build there from a cultural standpoint in New York, but I think Justin Fields still has some things to work on as far as timing and touch and some of those things, passing the football. And like I said, Tyrod Taylor's been in the league for a very long time, and usually when he comes in, he wins games, man. That's the kind of backup quarterback you want to have, a guy that can come in, fill in, win games, start 4 or 5 games for if need be. He's that kind of quarterback. Now, I said all that to say they're still going to lose this game, unfortunately. As much as I like Tyrod Taylor and Aaron Glenn, I think the Jets are going to fall to 0-3 and continue to try to figure things out. The Buccaneers are a really good team, man. They They just find a way to win, and Baker Mayfield is quickly becoming one of my favorite players in the league. He's just a gutsy, gritty guy, man. He finds a way to get a victory late in the game, man. You saw him do it against Atlanta as he drove the team down the field. Saw him do it on Monday night against the Texans as well after they're down. No problem. Let's go win this game. And he just does that. So he's going to grind it out, make something happen, and get a victory. And I think they take this one a little bit less cardiac from them and a little bit less drama from them, and they take this one 31-20. All right, now we'll get into our 4 o'clock slate of games, and the first game that we have on tap for 4 p.m. games on Sunday is the Broncos traveling to L.A. to take on the Chargers. This should be a fun one, man. 2 teams that people think can dethrone the Chiefs. I'm not sure, again, I've been saying this pretty much the whole season so far, why people think the Broncos are going to be poised to do that. A lot of people have a lot of faith in them, and of course, my number one rule has always been never trust the Chargers. But I say that, and I do like the Chargers a lot. I like Justin Herbert. He's a guy who's helped me win a fantasy championship before. I like their head coach. I like their defense and what they got over there in that end of the field. So they got a lot of elements that make you say, you know what? Maybe I can get behind this Chargers team. And currently, they have a 2-game lead on the Chiefs as well. So, I think in this particular situation, I like the Chargers a lot in this game, and I like them in this division as they start to try to maybe get away from the Chiefs, man. I don't think it's a done deal yet. I won't say that, but something to keep your eye on out there in the AFC West. Again, I don't believe in the Broncos. They're coming off a 1-point loss up in Indianapolis to the Colts. So I think in this particular game, Chargers given 2.5. Chargers take care of business. I think they'll take this one 30-25 over the Broncos. I just don't trust Bo Nix, people. I'm gonna be real with you. I probably saw too much of this guy in college, and that's probably what the issue is, because a lot of people maybe don't have that prejudgment of him, from kind of watching him struggle in the ups and downs he had throughout his long college career. But I just can't get behind him, man. So I'm taking the Chargers in this one 30-25. I think they'll handle their business at home. Not a great home field advantage, but I think they're good enough just to beat the Broncos, whether they played them there in Denver or on a neutral site either. Our next game that we go to, a team that I've said could be the worst team in the league, but they've been pretty gritty so far the first couple weeks. New Orleans Saints traveling to the West Coast to take on the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Saints have welcomed in some of those West Coast teams to them. They already took an L to the Arizona Cardinals. They've already played San Fran, and San Fran beat them with a backup in Mac Jones. And now you got Mr. Darnold, Sam Darnold, going home to take on the Saints team. The Saints just don't have a lot of talent. They got a coach who I like in Kellen Moore, but I think he still has to kind of bring his guys in. They got to get some talent on that roster before we see any changes. The Saints, like I said, they've been getting a big number put up each week, 7.5 this week. I don't know that Seattle is that great. They did handle their business going to Pittsburgh, but they had a lot of help from Pittsburgh in that game as well. But in this particular one, I will take the Seahawks. I think they will cover it. I got them up winning this one 28-17 over the Saints. I think, like I said, it's not too much, research or anything that needs to go on. They're just a better team than the Saints. Saints are going to have some struggles. They probably are devoid of talent the most. Quarterback situation is, pretty abysmal. And like I said, I think Kellen Moore was scheming up. I think they'll fight, but they're just going to come out on the short end. Now, I was surprised to see what the spread was on this next game. The Cowboys traveling to Chicago, Soldier Field, to take on the Chicago Bears. The Bears currently are 0-2. They're coming off a beatdown in Detroit. I think the Lions may have just scored another touchdown. Somebody called off the Dogs. I'm surprised that Vegas has them as a 1-point favorite. Now, of course, the way that the scores usually break down, if you're home team, you're usually going to give 3 points, as the home team. So it's not a lot of confidence in them, the fact that it's a 1-point game and really kind of a pick'em game at this point. But the Cowboys defense looked pretty bad last week. So Trayvon Diggs was getting beat deep a lot in that game. Now, the only problem with that is I don't think there's a Malik Neighbors on the Chicago Bears team. DJ Moore is pretty good. And Doozy, I think, as the young second-year wide receiver who's pretty good as well, but not quite Malik Neighbors. So maybe the Cowboys don't have as hard as a time trying to contain what the Bears do in this particular game. But I got the Cowboys winning this one 27-23. I think it'll be a close game. I think that spread is probably, like I said, pretty good spread. It's a pick'em game. I would have had the Cowboys favored in this one, maybe by 2 points, but I got the Cowboys winning this one 27-23. Our next game on the 4 p.m. slate on Sunday is the Arizona Cardinals 2-0 going into San Fran to take on the 49ers. Now, Mac Jones came out and did his thing last week. At the time of this recording, I'm not sure if Brock Purdy is going to be back. It was kind of sketchy if he would play in that game last week. He ended up being held out of it. So, division game at home, maybe Shanahan and company feel like, hey, we don't need him. We can let him sit for another week, and we can handle our business against the Cardinals. We'll see. But regardless of whoever starts this game, I think it will be a tight game. But I will have the 49ers taking this one, whether it's Mac Jones or Brock Purdy, 24-22. I think Mac Jones may get another start in this one, man. And, far be it for me to give any props to the boy genius. If you've watched any of my content the last 4 years, I despise that guy. I only want bad things to happen to him. But hey, I think he'll be able to turn the tides and bring his team to 3-0 at this point. But probably need to lean on Christian McCaffrey a lot, Jawan Jennings at wide receiver as well. Not sure if Kittle will be back either. He was out last week as well. But I think the 49ers still have enough there, even if it is some of the backups, to get a victory over the Cardinals in that game. And that may just be a function of me, kind of feeling like you can't really trust the Cardinals, man. They beat up on two pretty bad teams in the Saints and the Panthers. So, they haven't necessarily been tested yet as well either. So we'll see once they get this test if they are, in fact, a legit team or if it's just the same old Cardinals. Now, this is a game that will be huge for both teams. Our Sunday night football game will be very interesting. We get Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs coming in at 0-2. Surprise, surprise, against the 0-2 Giants. The Giants stunk it up in week 1, looked very good in week 2 behind career day for Russell Wilson, 450 yards. Was throwing the ball all over the place. Some deep passes to Robinson and Malik Neighbors, who we talked about already. But in the end, through a very costly interception in overtime that I'm sure he wishes he could have back, where he kind of just threw the ball up for grabs late in that game and probably, unfortunately, cost them the game. They were very undisciplined. A lot of penalties in that game for them as well. That kind of shot them in the foot. The Cowboys probably wouldn't have even been in that game if that team didn't have that many penalties. So still a lot of stuff to clean up for the Giants. And if you're the Chiefs, you're flying, to the New York on a Sunday night primetime game. You haven't looked very good after being in Brazil, and then, coming home to face the Eagles, the Super Bowl champs in the rematch, has been kind of tough for you, and is there a lifeline somewhere for Patrick Mahomes? He just needs some weapons, man. He doesn't have anything right now. You're missing your top receiver in Rishi Rice, who is out due to a suspension. Worthy, who was a big-time player for you last year, your number 2 guy, he has been out with an injury as well. And, Travis Kelce, let's keep it real, man. He looks like a shell of himself at this point, which is to kind of be expected. He's been in the league for a long time. He's one of the greatest tight ends of all time. And he may be a little preoccupied with some other stuff going on. Maybe he's doing some wedding planning. Who knows, man? But he's been more notable for the off-the-field stuff at this point instead of some of these drops he's having in these games and struggling. So it's unfortunate to see a talent like Patrick Mahomes, who may be the best quarterback talent we've ever seen in NFL history, kind of not have any weapons to be able to do what he needs to do with. Now, defense is still pretty good. They get after it on the defensive end of the ball. So that may be their saving grace in this one. I think this game is going to be pretty tight, though, man. I think you'll see a situation where the Chiefs have to pull one out late. Now, they had that long streak of one-score victories that was an NFL record. I think it was 12 in a row last year or something like that. And, to start the season anyway, maybe. And then I think they had like up to 17 or something in a row going back to 2 seasons where they won one-score games. Now they've lost 2 of them already this year. So, that's kind of the way those things even out, man. Now, their streak was a little bit longer than you're used to seeing as far as being able to come up with something, in those one-score games. But maybe they get back on track, like I said, with a close one in this one. Finally get a one-score victory, literally by 1 point in my estimation on this one. So I got them winning this one 21-20. Last but not least, our Monday night football game pits two very good teams against each other, man. The Lions, who have been sort of the toast of the NFC the last 2 years, taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Now, you watch the show, you know I'm a big Lamar fan, big Ravens fan. Was very disappointed in the way they lost week one. They got back on track, won their game 41-17 last week. If you watched last week, you see I predicted that score 41-17 when they were taking on the Cleveland Browns last week. And the Lions handled their business, man, put up 52. These are two very explosive offenses, a lot of weapons, man. Two of the best running backs in the league, and Jahmyr Gibbs, and, of course, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was kind of just they put him in the garage, man, and put the tarp over him last week. They didn't really use him. They didn't really need him for the Cleveland Browns. I think in this one they may want to prove a point to one of the better teams, or what's perceived to be one of the better teams in the league, in the Detroit Lions. So I think you'll see him involved a little bit more in this game. And like I said, two of the more exciting teams. I'm expecting an exciting game. The Lions are getting 5.5, and I don't think it'll be enough. I got the Ravens winning this one by a touchdown, actually by 8, man, 35-27. I think they got to handle their business in these kind of games. A couple years ago when the Lions burst onto the scene, this was a very big game that was going to be like a test for them, and they got smoked by the Ravens. And this was on like a Sunday afternoon. Ravens put up over 40 points in that game, I think, and just took them back behind the shed and beat them like they stole something. So I think this one will be a little bit closer, but I think the offense for the Ravens will still be too much for them, and I got them winning this game. And again, if you got to choose between Lamar Jackson and Jared Goff, word to the wise, choose Lamar Jackson every time, especially if it's not a playoff game, man. So those are our picks for this week, man. Hopefully you guys are jotting these down and sending them, share this video with your friends as well. Like I said, who like NFL football, so they can, pick up on some of the knowledge that we're providing here on NFL Matchup each week, man. We do this every single Thursday, man. And like I said, we got a great slate of games this week, a bunch of division rival games. So we'll continue to kind of get into the season, get things rolling, man. It's a lot of fun. NFL is in full swing now. The Thursday night game, Monday night game, no doubleheader. We kind of got the regular schedule. One Thursday night game, nothing on Friday, nothing on Saturday. Then you get all your games Sunday, and, of course, one Monday night game. So first, like, real regular season week that we'll see where everyone's kind of playing the regular schedule this week. So you guys do yourselves a favor. If you like this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up, man. And if you agree with me, Earl knows it all on my picks. You say, Earl, man, thank you, man. You're a very talented, intelligent brother. Or if you don't agree and you're a hater, you know what you can do? You still can comment and say, man, you did not pick this game right. Why are you talking about my team like that? I got some inside insight, and I know we're going to be able to do this against this team. Feel free to comment, man. We like to get in the comment section, go back and forth, discuss this game that we love, NFL football, man. And like I said, make sure you do yourself a favor and subscribe to the channel as well. Not only do we do NFL Matchup each and every Thursday, we also hit you with NFL Pick 6 with Earl Knows It All, where I give you picks against the spread. I picked the 6 best games this week that's going to make you a couple dollars. We also give you Bird Talk each and every Monday at 8 a.m. And that's a Falcons exclusive podcast with myself and my brother B. Woo, where we break down all the comings and goings of the Atlanta Falcons, talk about whatever happened in their game, predict what we think will happen in the next game, and just all the news for the week as well. And we also give you our flagship show, Cover 2 with B. Woo, Earl Knows It All, where we cover the entire league and talk about everything that's going on, recap some of the games from each week. So you guys make sure you turn your notifications on so you don't miss any of them. We're giving you content Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, all of these days, man, not to mention some of the short content we give you as well. Nobody does it better as far as NFL content than we do right here on this Cover 2 channel. So make sure that you do yourself a favor, like we said, subscribe to the channel and tell a friend, man, and tell a hater. Another great week of NFL football. Now, I do have a programming alert. We won't have any of those shows on Monday and Tuesday this week as far as Bird Talk and not having Cover 2 as well, as I will be somewhere with a drink with an umbrella in my hand celebrating my anniversary. Happy anniversary to my lovely, beautiful, outstanding, wonderful. Did I say beautiful? You can 10 times that, wife. Ashley, I love you. So, yes, you won't get any content as far as Bird Talk earlier in the week, but we'll get you covered later on, man. When I get back, we're going to still have something for you. So, like we said, man, make sure you lock in, Turn those notifications on so you don't miss a thing, because we may switch it up on you, but we're going to still get you covered, though. You guys have a great week, man. I'm getting off right now so I can go catch the Buffalo Bills, spank the Dolphins. Will Mike McDaniel make it past this game? Who knows, man? We'll see. See you guys later.